Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Alright, Pokemon fans, this is Duuz-Diz-Din, here with the finale of the Fire Red and Leaf Green arc. All you Pokemaniacs out there have been waiting for this, as we finally reached the conclusion of the battle with Deoxys. Well, to be honest, we already reached that, and yet it's not over yet. In the battle between Red, who was in command of Mewtwo, and Giovanni, who was commanding Deoxys, Mewtwo managed to come out on top, putting Giovanni in a bit of a almost catatonic state for a little bit there because of some weird link they had. Surd and Orm, who had captured Silver at the behest of Giovanni so they can have a father-son family reunion. When Silver awakens in a room with the passed-out Giovanni, Silver decides that though he has been searching for his past all this time, and grappling with the fact that despite wanting to have a more normal upbringing, seems he was always destined to be an heir to a villain. Meanwhile, Green, Blue, Professor Oak, and their allies, Lorelei, Ultima, and Random Sailor, are making their way to the Kanto region in pursuit of Mew, who is also traveling there as well, for reasons unknown. Meanwhile, Surd and Orm confront Red as well as Yellow, who came in pursuit of Silver, not happy that he was kidnapped. Start to unravel the mystery of Deoxys, how it was an artificially created being born in space, and how Team Rocket used it to their ends, as well as the only other known Deoxys out there, seemingly with it perishing because of the strain of Team Rocket overusing it. But as this goes in a more and more strange direction, with Deoxys through Yellow even telling him that they are the same, or well, Red is Deoxys, still not understanding that. Carr, who feels burned by the fact that Giovanni wants to see his son, feeling that the control of Team Rocket he feels that he is owed, well, it's slipping through his grasp, takes control of the ship that they are all on, sending it plummeting into the earth below. What'll happen next? Join me as I find out, won't you? Right. Adventure 298. Start the countdown, Starmie. Starmie, give me a beat. As the Team Rocket ship is, spiraling out of control, let's be honest, with Carr at the helm. Surd shouts, "Carr, you?" While Orm and her are hanging on for dear life. Orm calls out, "We have to get to the control room somehow. And his screams fade off as he slips, plummeting to his possible demise. It's hard to tell somehow. Well, sometimes. As Surd calls out for him. Meanwhile, thanks to his psychic spoon, Mewtwo is dangling with Yellow and Red, who is holding on to Deoxys. The remote for the airship flies out of Red's pocket, but Surd sees this, saying that's the airship's remote. Somehow they got a hold of it. He brings out her Persian and tells it to use Thief. Persian launches at the remote, bites down on it, and manages to return it to Surd. Somehow, that Persian's got a lot of agility. Surd hits the button and commands the ship to cancel stadium mode. "I have to get to the control room before we crash," she calls out, as the stadium folds back in, allowing everyone to enter, potentially? It's kind of hard to say. Not to mention, I don't think you should be, out when everything is closing in like that, you know? But it seems to work out for the best, as everyone is now inside. Red says, "We managed to get inside thanks to the airship transforming. Let's go to the control room and find Carr, Mewtwo." Mewtwo says, "All right." Red reaches a hand out here, saying, "Here, hold on to my shoulder, Deoxys." Deoxys doesn't respond, but Red hefts Deoxys up. Yellow questions, "You're taking Deoxys with you?" And Red with a smile says, "Of course. I can't just abandon it here." But as they make their way to the nearby door, Red says, "This is it." But he says nuts as he clatters at the handle, finding that it's not opening. Carr in the control room says, "Did you seriously think the door would open?" As he watches them from the monitor, he says, "Just because you've canceled the stadium mode doesn't mean you're safe." Suddenly Surd appears on the monitor as Carr says, "As long as I have control of this ship, he can't do anything from outside. You know that, don't you, Surd?" Surd says, "Carr, it's that attitude of yours that's going to be your downfall." But Carr sneers at her, saying, "It's pointless to threaten me. I will become the next leader of Team Rocket, after getting rid of all of you, naturally. Surge sneers right back, saying, we'll see about that. Car then notices something shining up above him, the gem of Starmie, and as Car says, huh? Starmie? Starmie launches towards him, knocking him out of the control seat. Oh, and since, I guess because of the way the ship is elevated, he's launched back to the back wall, but it's kind of like being launched to the floor. Car says, Sir Starmie, it entered the room by using camouflage and blending into the wall. That doesn't tell me how it actually entered the room without you noticing it, but whatever. Third, watching from the monitor, says, that's right, Car. Today we celebrate because Giovanni is finally reunited with his son, and I'm not going to let you spoil that for us. And her dedication is wild. But Car is still smiling, saying, not bad, but when it comes to outfoxing, I'm slyer than you. Something shines behind Surd. Oh, gee, what the heck? See, is it weird that my immediate thought is, man, Surd was wearing some sexy stuff under that, long coat of hers, like booty shorts, fishnet stockings, and high-heeled boots? Like, dang. But, she's blasted clear out of the ship. What the heck hit her? Oh, Fortress. And much to the shock of Red and Mewtwo as they see Surd go flying out of the ship. I'm gonna be shocked if she's not dead. Car says, that was one of my fortresses' explosion. There are 10 more fortresses hiding inside this ship, and they've all been ordered to use explosion. I've basically set a time bomb inside here. In a few minutes, this ship will be blown to smithereens. He then opens up a door on the ship and departs on his Skarmory, saying, so there's no point in trying to land it safely. Dang, little bastard. Mewtwo forces open the door, saying, you heard him, Red. We have to get off the ship. Oh, I guess he forces the door to the outside. But Red says no. What'll happen to the ship if we escape? What if it crashes into a town with all those fortresses time bombs inside it? That is a weird sentence. Who knows what damage that would do? Besides, we aren't the only ones left on this ship. As he points to a monitor where we see Silver, Giovanni, and Sneasel. Also, I always forget. It is my own thing that I like doing. You have Mewtwo, Deoxys, and Sneasel on the monitor. Red calls out, Yellow, give me a hand. But he's shocked to see her sleeping. He calls out to her and she awakens, saying, huh? Oh, I'm sorry, Red. I couldn't help it. Yellow tries to wake herself up, smacking herself on the cheek. But Red thinks to himself, Yellow falls asleep whenever she uses her healing power. Her healing and Pokemon mind reading powers a lot. Could it be? He remembers Sir's words saying, why don't you use your power to read its mind again, Yellow? Red thinks, did Surge suggest that because she knew? Dang, really? She was even thinking that far ahead. Did they have data on Yellow? Then again, no, Giovanni didn't make any plans for Yellow before. I wonder. Suddenly, the ship begins to rattle, and Mewtwo questions, I understand why you want to prevent this ship from crashing into a town. But how are you going to stop it, Red? Oh god. Is that Vermilion City? The Team Rocket ship seems to be approaching a city. Oh, it flies over the Safari Zone. I forget what this guy is called. The Safari Zone Warden sees it flying overhead, saying, what the? A huge airship with smoke rising out of it. It looks like it's about to crash. And the weird Robo-Pidgey says, it is headed towards Vermilion City. Yeah, I knew it. It is headed towards Vermilion City. The Pokemon Fan Club chairman and the various members of the Pokemon Fan Club come rushing out saying, oh no, what's going on? Oh, and just as the, dude, what was his name again? The Sea Gallop. There we go. Oh, okay. I was trying to look it up, but then it clicked in my mind. The Sea Gallop arrives at Vermilion City Harbor. The sailor comes out saying, we've arrived at Vermilion Harbor, just in time for them to see the airship coming down overhead. As everyone goes out to the bow of the ship, Ultima says, Blue, that airship. Blue says, yeah, there's no doubt about it. That's the Team Rocket airship we were after. Green gets on her Pokegear, telling everyone there's an announcement about it on the radio. The radio says, emergency news. Ignited above Vermilion City. The large airship appears to be out of control. News. Slightly above Vermilion City. And I'm not sure if there's someone talking or thinking it. I think it's Green saying, Red and Mewtwo weren't after the airship to fight Deoxys. Went after the airship to fight Deoxys. It looks like something went terribly wrong. Green turns to Lorelei saying, Lorelei, can you tell who's on that ship? Lorelei says Surd isn't on it, looking at her contact, right? Because that's the way she was tracking everything. With, it was her, Jinx, who used its ice power to put a bit of a tracer on him. Green then turns to Blue, questioning, what about Red? Blue is looking at his Pokégear, saying, the Pokégear is out of range. We don't have any means of locating him, but any which way, that airship's going to crash sooner or later. There's only one thing left for us to do, and that's to prevent a catastrophe. Green and Blue go rushing in. I'm not really sure what they're going to do. I mean, at least it looks like they're healed up at least a little bit from what just happened. Maybe they got a little rest on the boat. I mean, what else are you going to do? How much time has passed, actually? I don't even know. Back aboard the airship, Red turns to everyone saying, I have a plan, but I'll need Deoxys' help. Mewtwo questions, what? Red says, I have a question for you, Deoxys. Your friend, who they called Organism Number 2, created a black hole to kidnap Green's parents. Do you make a hole like that? Deoxys gives a nod. Red says, great, then I need you to do it right now, to them. He points to the monitor with Silver and Giovanni on it. Deoxys gets in a stance and begins doing just that. Soon we see on the monitor Giovanni and Silver and Sneasel sinking into the black hole. I mean, it's not so much a black hole as more of a portal, but semantics. Red then turns to Mewtwo, telling Deoxys, good, now these guys. Deoxys is in shock, saying, but Red. As Mewtwo and Yellow sink into Deoxys' portal, Red says, don't worry, Green's parents were fine, remember? The black hole is just an entrance. Deoxys will let you exit someplace safe. I mean, where? What? Semantics, I guess. Mewtwo says, that's not what I'm worried about. Red, you're thinking of settling this all by yourself, aren't you? And Red gives a, odd smile. I don't like that smile. As he says, I'll be back soon, I promise. As Red walks away, Yellow and Mewtwo call out to him to be continued. And to be continued right now. It's funny because apparently that was like the original end of where this volume was going to go. Which I would have been so pissed. And it's not a bad cliffhanger though, honestly speaking. But I don't like the idea of them front-loading another arc with the end of a previous arc. Like, nah, just give me the arc that I'm here for. So I'm glad that Viz did it the way that they did. Lots of information on Deoxys since we're nearing the end of all that. A lot of information, like that. Oh, and even stuff about the Sevi Islands, too. Yeah, we went from the Sevi Islands to Viridian to Vermilion. Lots of V's in there. All right, almost 300. It's adventure number 299. Distant relation Deoxys. Oh, we're finally going to find out what Red's connection to Deoxys is. Maybe? Come on. All right. Yellow and Mewtwo sink into Deoxys' black hole. Mewtwo saying, Red, you're thinking of settling this all by yourself, aren't you? But Yellow calls out, stop, as she uses her fishing rod to wrap a line around Red's hand, much to Red's shock. Yellow calls out, no, wait, Red. Yellow manages to pull herself out of the portal. Aw, and the two Pikachu are calling out to each other, too. Red questions Yellow, and Yellow says, Red, if you go now, I won't get the chance to... So tired, falling asleep. But first, I have to tell you what I've read in Deoxys' mind. Deoxys and you. It's your blood flowing inside Deoxys' body. How? How is it Red's blood? Why is it Red's blood? Red questions, my blood? Yellow says Giovanni was gathering blood cells and forms of energy to reinforce his army. He collected one of those blood samples 5 years ago during a battle at Viridian City. Oh, that would have been the only other time we've really seen Red bleed, in his battle with Giovanni. Yeah. Yellow says, that sample was your blood. Giovanni collected drops of blood. Oh no, Red says, Giovanni collected drops of blood I left behind at the scene of the battle? That is so creepy. It's weird that that's my takeaway, but that's kind of creepy. Yeah, that's Giovanni for you, though. Yellow says, it was kept in Team Rocket's storage facility. But when Deoxys tried to escape, your blood cells were accidentally absorbed into its body. Oh, so it wasn't even on purpose. Deoxys mutated from a space virus. It doesn't have parents or anyone it could call family. Deoxys has been looking for you, a biological link to its origin. Deoxys wanted to meet you, but the only form of communication Deoxys was capable of at first was battle, was the back and forth of fighting. That's so weird. That is such a weird caveat to add to all of this. I mean, it's not even like Red's DNA was naturally put into it from the beginning. It's just it absorbed a little bit of it. But Deoxys, I guess, because it didn't have that other, I guess was just seeking out another form of connection? I don't know. Red says, so that funny feeling I got whenever Deoxys appeared. Neil says it was probably your body resonating with the part of you that mutated into Deoxys. I can't keep my eyes open anymore, but I'm glad I got to tell you this first. I'm glad I can help Silver accomplish what he came here to do. Yellow says as she sinks into the portal, her fishing line snapping, and the only thing left behind besides her broken line is her hat. Also, yeah, her Yellow's Pikachu is still in that ball from the other line, so Red now has Yellow's Pikachu too. That's so weird. And it's such a minor connection though. Red turns to Deoxys with a smile saying, we're the only ones left aboard this ship, Deoxys. Understand what you meant now when you said, I am you. So your only way to communicate was to fight, huh? Well, the fact is, I sensed the connection between us even before that. Weird, huh? Red then looks towards the control room for the ship, saying, anyhow, and he makes his way up. Red tells Deoxys, it's an honor to meet you. Red then pulls up the ship, saying, I had a bad first impression, but now I'm happy to know you. Deoxys, you were captured by Giovanni. That makes you his Pokemon, but I'm setting you free now. You can return to the wild, or you're welcome to stay with me if you like. Red smiles back at Deoxys, saying, after fighting each other with everything we've got, I think I've gotten to know you pretty well. More than that, I feel like we're friends. Let me introduce you to the rest of my team. Red then brings out all of his Pokemon, saying, meet Polly, Snore, Gara, Arrow, Charizard, Pika, and Choo-Choo. So we got Charizard and Gyarados. Always gets packed at the end of a story arc. Red tells all of his Pokemon, the truth is, I only know how to ride a bike, but let's see if I can fly this thing. And it does help that the controls are kind of like a bicycle handles. Watch this 15-year-old child fly a plane. And it's better than him being, 10 years old, I guess. I'm glad he's not eternally 10 for no reason. Red tells his Pokemon, you don't have a choice. I've got to figure out how to steer this airship somehow so it doesn't crash in an inhabited area. Meanwhile, I want all of you to search for the remaining 10 fortresses on this airship and put out any fires they start. And all of his Pokemon go into action. Suddenly, words appear on the nearby monitor saying, Red, wait. Let me search for the fortresses. Red turns saying, Deoxys, is that you? And sure enough, yeah, it's Deoxys. And using its psychic ability, right, because it has the ability of divination. It can find things. Deoxys tells him, the first one is at the base of the right wing. Poliwrath finds that. The second one, on the second floor central area. Gyarados finds that one. The third one, in the cargo hold in the basement. The two Pikachu find that. Okay. Yo, teaming up with Deoxys, that's what's up. See, I'm glad that we finally have a way of them communicating, because it was kind of awkward having Red constantly talk to Deoxys, and Deoxys not responding. I know that's Pokemon in a nutshell, but I don't know, it just feels like there should be a way to communicate with Deoxys, that's all I'm saying. Alright, finally, adventure number 300! Right on time, right on. Oh, in the blackness of the void, we see Giovanni. As he starts to regain consciousness, he goes, where am I? And what is this darkness around me? Oh, I see. It must be the black hole created by organism number 2. It must have used its power to remove us from the airship. Giovanni looks around, calling out, Silver? Where's Silver? He then spots Silver with Sneasel, saying, Silver, I'm so glad you're all right. Don't worry. This is the black hole Deoxys created. It must be connected to someplace safe. Giovanni then looks down, seeing a shining light, saying, there, see. But then flames whip at his legs, and he says, whoa, fire? And they exit, what is this? Right above a flaming R symbol? Where are they? Oh, is this the base? Giovanni barely and bloodily manages to grab a hold of a piece of rubble, holding up, man, that's some upper body strength. both Silver and Sneasel with one hand as he uses another hand to brace himself with his legs caught in the blaze. Oh, it's a piece of the airship that got blasted out. Man, that's messed up. Giovanni says, these are pieces of my airship. That's the last thing I expected to find inside this black hole. What a pity. If only we weren't separated by flame, and I'd be able to hold you. Once again, he looks at Silver's face saying, your face is dirty. Need to be more careful. Giovanni has a memory of a young Silver. As he wiped the young boy's face, he says, your face is smudged. You need to wash up. We see a handkerchief with Silver's name emblazoned on it. As Giovanni continues to do his best to hold up the boy, Sneasel goes into Silver's pocket, and brings out the handkerchief, the same handkerchief with Silver's name on it, wiping Silver's face. Giovanni says, that handkerchief, kept it all this time. That's my boy. You were always losing things when you were little, so we put your name on everything. It didn't do much good, though. But we always kept spares on hand. It's good to see that you finally managed to hold on to your things, son. A few years ago, I was quite ill. That made me aware of how precious our time in this world is. I'm glad I found you before it was too late. You're so grown up now, Silver. Oh, jeez. We see Blue and Green making their way over to the wreckage. Blue says, that chunk that fell from the airship is on fire. How serious is the damage? Green uses her now repairs health scope. I have to assume that Bill fixed them. And as she looks in, she says, huh? Silver? Why is Silver there? Blue then brings out Rhydon of all things and has it break through the wreckage, grabbing Giovanni, Silver, and Sneasel. Silver then awakens in the arms of Rhydon, saying, ow, where am I? Where am I? Fire? Green calls out Silver, and Silver responds. As Rhydon sets Silver down, he says, I found this Pokemon walking through the flames. Blue calls out, that's my Rhydon. His body is protected by a hide that's tough as armor. It can walk through, what? 3,600 degree molten lava. Dang. Green then says, Silver, that man. He's Giovanni, the boss of Team Rocket. What is he doing here? But Silver nervously says, well, funny story. Turns out this man is my father. Green says, you're what? Silver says, I'm the son of the boss of Team Rocket. That's true, but I'll never accept this man as my father. He's a criminal. Rhydon sets Giovanni down, and Silver tells them, I'm grateful to you for rescuing me, but there was no need for you to rescue him as well. Green is at a loss for words, but Blue simply says, he is your family, though. I know how you feel. Silver says, I don't care if he is, so what? Blue says, hear me out. People always saw me as just Professor Oak's grandson. If I succeeded at anything, everybody assumed it was just because I was related to Professor Oak. Nobody gave me any credit for my own accomplishment. But once I moved away from my family and started training with Chuck, people began to treat me like any ordinary trainer. For the first time, I could appreciate what I inherited and learned from my family and for what they'd done for me. So now I can hold my head up high and tell everyone, yes, I'm the grandson of a fine Pokemon researcher named Samuel Oak. Blue kneels down to Silver, saying, Silver, you saved the Johto region when it was in crisis. You may be the biological son of the boss of Team Rocket, but you're still your own person. Take a look at your injuries, yours and his. It looks like Giovanni protected you from the fire, doesn't it? Silver looks over, with realization on his face. Blue says, if we'd gotten here any later, you and Sneasel might have perished. I only managed to save you because I had my Rhydon with me. And the reason my Rhydon is so powerful is because of the battle skills it gained from this book. Blue brings out Secrets of the Land, saying, a book written by a specialist in ground-type Pokemon who happens to be your father. Team Rocket is a huge crime syndicate. Giovanni is responsible for what he did as their leader. But he must have acquired his knowledge in this book through incredibly rigorous training, and he's generous enough to spread the secrets of his knowledge to the next generation. Most of all, he's been searching for you for the past 10 years, and he tried to protect you from that fire with his life. He's not all bad. There are aspects of your father that you can take pride in. And as it all sinks in, Silver breaks down and clutches at his father, and as tears roll down Silver's face, we see both father and son clutching the handkerchiefs, both emblazoned with the name Silver. Oof. Oh, man, dang. Oh, I'm not like crying or anything, but man, got me that warm fuzzy feeling all over. Blue says to Green, who's tearing up herself, he says, come to think of it, something's been odd about this mission since it began. Usually it's me who's holding back Red from making impulsive decisions. But this time it's Red who's been holding me back. I know why. It's because my grandfather was kidnapped. Our feelings for our family, for those closest to us, can be very strong. So strong that at times it leads to rash decisions. Green, you understand, don't you? Green gives a silent nod. Oh, another portal then opens up above them. And as Green and Blue turn, they see Mewtwo float down, a passed out Yellow in his arms. Oh, well, dang. Oh, that was a hell of a chapter. Holy crap. Oh, man. Man, again, they handled the whole Giovanni and Silver situation better than most things. Like, the games did a lot of good, and even the little Pokemon animation with that little moment between Silver and Looker added a lot too. But this, hey, good stuff. All right, now Adventure 301, Storming the Fortress. What a fun. Alright, Mewtwo exits the portal with Yellow in his hands. Blue calls out Mewtwo and Green finishes saying Yellow. Mewtwo lands and staggers, pretty much dropping Yellow, but Green manages to catch her before she hits the ground. Blue questions, what happened to Red? Mewtwo averts his gaze towards the incoming falling airship as Green calls out, well, Blue says he's still inside the airship. Green says it's coming this way, and Blue brings out all of his Pokemon. Blue brings out his Rhydon and his Golduck, while Green brings out her Blastoise. There we go. Had to kind of figure out whose Pokemon was who in that second. Blue has his Rhydon use Megahorn, while Blue and Green have their Golduck and Blastoise respectively use Hydro Pump in order to slow the descent of the airship. But Yellow, in a half-conscious state, says, he'll be fine. Red is a man of his word. He remembered the promise he made to me the first time we met, and he passed the gym leader exam. Blue and Green think, talking in her sleep? And Yellow says, he'll return, I'm sure of it. He promised he'd come back, so he will. Blue says she's still thinking about Red. I don't know what happened, but it must have been bad. Look at how tired Mewtwo is. They must have had a fierce battle. Asking for help is out of the question. Green, you and I are going to have to stop this airship from crashing, especially if Red is trapped inside it. It's our responsibility as Pokédex holders. Silver hears this and takes a moment. He brings out his Ursaring and tells it, my 18th hideout is located on Route 6 just up ahead. 18th hideout? And again, he has been on his own for a good long while, so I guess it makes sense. Take my father there and keep an eye on him. Silver then brings out his Feraligatr, his Gyarados, and his Kingdra, which stack team. Also, get in here, Feraligatr. Green looks back, questioning, Silver, what are you doing? Silver says, what else, Green? Stopping that airship from crashing. I don't know what my father intends to do with Team Rocket, or me after this. But no matter what happens, I'm going to accept that. Giovanni is my biological father, and he raised me when I was little. Silver starts taking off the weird, elaborate outfit Third put on him as he says, I won't let him commit any more crimes. I'll shoulder the burden of what he's become. The two of us will make up for it somehow. Starting now, I'm a Pokédex holder too, and I'm here to offer my help, Blue. That is, if you'll accept it. Oh, right. I had actually forgotten that at one point Blue tried to arrest Silver. That's right. He tried to take Silver into custody that one time towards the end of the story arc. I actually forgot about that. They have a very, rocky relationship, to say the least. But Blue smiles, saying, of course. He then tells everyone, here's the plan. Let's push the airship up from below, using the power of water and wind and whatever other form of energy we have at our disposal. As they try to push back the airship from falling dead into the city, Red at the control panel says, oh, there's Blue and the others. They're using their Pokemon to push the airship up so it won't crash land. I can't raise the nose any higher. Deoxys is still using its divination, telling Red, 7 fortresses in the lower area of the tail. Snorlax takes out one. The 7th fortress in the lower area of the tail. Snorlax takes out that one. The 8th on the base of the left wing. Charizard takes out that. The 9th on the surveillance plane gate. Aerodactyl takes out that one. Deoxys says the 10th, and Red says the last one. Deoxys says right behind the armory control room. Armory. Explosives. Yeah, and even Red's just like, he turns saying, armory? If that fortress uses explosion, it'll detonate all the explosives in there. The airship will be blown to pieces. You won't have to worry about crashing anymore, but who knows what the debris will do to the town below. You know, that and you and your Pokemon inside, I get it, you're a hero and all that, but and then he's just taking off his shirt. Man, this kid is ripped. Then again, 15 or 16, yeah, no, he would be kind of built like that. You know, I remember being in high school and I saw some kids who were just jacked as all get out, and I'm just like, why are you so built? Some kids just like that. Red takes off his shirt, rips it up, and uses it to hold the steering wheel control column, whatever, in a position to still, have it trying to pull up. Red says, Deoxys, I want you to send a telepathic message to Pika and the others. Tell them to wait right where they are. We'll stop this last fortress together. And Red heads off with Deoxys. Meanwhile, over at 5 Island, Bill and Celio are listening to the news report. As it says, we've just been informed that a large airship sighted above Viridian City has had an explosion on board. It's breaking up and appears to be headed towards Vermilion City. Bill says, yeah, okay, good luck, Blue. Oh, so it was Blue telling them that. Okay. Oh, so it's more like, yeah, okay, good luck, Blue. I thought he was being dismissive. Celio says, Bill says, yeah, that's Team Rocket's airship. Red's trying hard as he can to steer that thing so it won't crash. Oh, and the townspeople who are all taking shelter in the Pokemon Center then come up saying, even if he succeeds, the people of Vermilion City are unlikely to appreciate his effort. They'll be blaming him for being a source of the problem like we did before, which is unfair because he's trying to save us. The people say, you can do it, Red. You can do it. Don't give up. See, I'm glad they came around. I mean, it was still kind of shitty what they did, but people in a panic tend to do some pretty rash things. So I got where they were coming from. They didn't fully understand the situation. And I'm guessing Bill let them know, it's just like, this is what happened. So it is what it is. Bill and Celio start tearing up. Meanwhile, aboard the airship, Red and Deoxys make their way to the armory, cornering the final fortress, who seems to be trembling. Red sees this and says, so your master gave you orders, and if you use explosion, you'll faint from the blast. You're scared, aren't you? But your master isn't here anymore. Come with me. You don't have to follow his orders anymore. But it's like Fortress steals itself and tries to explode anyway. But Deoxys seems to go in its defensive form and disables it, much to Fortress's shock. Red comes around saying, you tried to use explosion anyway, didn't you? But Fortress, Deoxys has a move called Skill Swap. It exchanges its ability with Polly before we got here. We weren't able to use Explode because Deoxys used the ability Damp that it got from Polly. Happy now? You did your best to fulfill your orders, and you didn't faint. Red says, patting Fortress. He's a good kid. Deoxys then, using a monitor, tries to communicate with Red, saying, what are you? Red turns to Deoxys, questioning this. Deoxys says, you got hurt. You were driven to the edge. But you never give up. You keep moving forward. What are you? Oh, I'm a protagonist. Red goes for his Pokédex, saying, me? I'm Red, the Pokédex holder of Pallet Town and the fighter. That's so cheesy. But I will accept this answer. I personally will accept this answer as something significant, as cheesy as it may seem. Oh, dang. Unfortunately, Red's shirt that was holding up the controls rips apart. The controls snap back into place. It jostles the ship as the impact from everyone down below firing at the nose of the ship just starts going. Oh god, I would hate to be on board that. Silver says, the airship is out of control. Blue says, you can't hold it up anymore. It's gonna crash. And just as the ship is about to hit a building, it doesn't? What the heck just happened? What am I looking at? It's almost like it almost hits the building, and it's like it bounces off. Yeah, even blue, silver, and green are mystified by this. Blue saying, what the? And it just gently, wait, it's almost like the material that the ship was made of changed? Because the way the ship looks on the ground is like it's made of a different material. What? Red comes sprawling out of the door saying, ow. Blue sees this and calls out to Red and goes over, helping Red up. Red says, Blue, thanks. You managed to lower the airship without damaging the town. Blue says, what? No. Son of a gun. Blue says, we weren't able to hold it up after all. I thought you did, didn't you? Red says, I don't know. But we see that it was Mew. I don't know what Mew did, but Mew did something, and that's more than I expected after all this time. And under the watchful eye of Mew, Blue helps Red over to Green and the sleeping Yellow as Silver looks on. Oh dang. Oh dang. Alright, this is it. The finale. Adventure 302. U for Mew. The way I said that sounds like I'm saying a few something for Mew. It's more like for Mew. And so all of Red's Pokemon disembarks from the ship. They came over and all the Pokemon are given back to the respective owners. Blue gets back his Charizard. Red gets back his Venusaur. Yellow's Pikachu comes over to her, sleeping, but then Blue and Green are on guard as they see Deoxys. I mean, naturally. But Deoxys and Red have that, what movie was it? It was the Predator movie, right? Where they just clasp hands or whatever Deoxys has. And all the other Pokemon just gotta accept this. Mewtwo then looks to the sky and I guess sees Mew floating about. Have they met before? I wonder. Okay, so I have to believe that maybe Mew used its telepathy to just set it down as gently as it could. That would make more sense. Yeah. Mewtwo thinks to itself, the airship was about to crash into that building just now, but Mew lowered it to the ground. Mew must have sensed my presence here and came to my aid. For a long time I was troubled by the questions, who am I? And what is my purpose? But sometimes answers are closer than you think. Wow. A better meeting between Mew and Mewtwo than in the first movie. After all, I was cloned from Mew's eyelash. Gee. Mewtwo then communicates with Deoxys saying, Deoxys, I'm glad to have had the opportunity to fight with another Pokemon who, like me, is searching for its identity. Deoxys gives a nod. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. Deoxys, considering how it was created, it would be kind of lost. Even in the Pokemon movie, I didn't really grasp the idea of Deoxys being someone who is just kind of lost. They were just brought into existence in space. I mean, how do you process that? You're just out there in the void, just one other like you. What do you do? That's so complicated. Blue then calls out Red. So glad you're all right. Red, as he recalls his Pokemon, says, thanks to you, you pushed the airship up from below. Blue, Green, and they all turn to Silver. And Blue brings him in saying, Silver too. He helped as well. It's so fun seeing a version of Blue who it's just like, no, stop being broody over in the corner. Come here, join in on the fun too. You helped out. Blue says, we're going to continue to need your help, especially me. Silver questions, how do you mean? Blue brings out the book, Secrets of the Land, saying, my Rhydon. According to your father's book, Secrets of the Land, my Rhydon has the potential to evolve even more, but that's all I know. Wait, was that next stage of evolution known at this point? When was that introduced? Oh, okay, yeah, Generation 4. I'll be honest, I don't really care for Rhyperior. I don't actually care for Rhyperior. That just took me off guard, because I'm just like, wait, really? Wait, what? But that's all I know. I'm pretty sure the key to its evolution lies in exchanging. Silver looks through the book and says, in that case, I might be able to help. Trading is my specialty. Blue says, right, that's why I'm counting on you. Red then comes over to Green saying, well, Green watches this, happy to see Silver looking a little less broody, as Red comes over to her saying Yellow is still asleep. Green says, hey, Red, I have an idea about this. Oh, the old Pokédex. Red says, that Pokédex. It's one of the old ones that hasn't been upgraded yet. Green explains, right, is that it has been transferred into the new Pokédex This one's empty now. It didn't get destroyed during the battle at the tower. Professor Oak said Yellow should have it. I want you to give it to her. Red says, okay, thanks for all your help, Yellow. Here's a Pokédex for you. I feel like you should give it to her when she's awake. Green says, hey, it's like we're having a reunion of Pokédex holders. It's just that Gold and Crystal weren't invited. Blue says, right. Grandfather said he created 3 Pokédexes for the Hoenn region as well. 2 of them are already in use by trainers. The 2 who saved the day in that epic battle with Kyogre and Groudon, right? Oh, Green says, the 2 who saved the day in that epic battle with Kyogre and Groudon, right? You haven't seen the Pokédex holders from Johto in a while. Well, someday all 9 of us Pokédex holders get to meet up at the same time. Silver gives a nod. Yeah, when's that gonna happen? Deoxys goes to leave. Red sees this, turning, saying, huh? Where are you going, Deoxys? Suddenly, Red's Pokédex opens up, and Deoxys tells him the other one that got used by Team Rocket and abandoned. The one they called Organism Number 1. I want to find my counterpart, my friend. Red questions Deoxys, and Deoxys says, also, a meteorite has fallen in a distant region from here. If I find it, its powers may help me change forms again. Deoxys shifts to its attack form, saying, thank you, Red. Red says, thank you, Deoxys, and Deoxys departs. In a faraway region. Wait, does this lead into the Pokemon Ranger stuff? Or is this after it? Well, Deoxys takes off, and Red watches. Suddenly someone approaches from behind. We see Ultima, Professor Oak, and Lorelei. Ultima says, phew, looks like things have finally settled down. Lorelei says, take a look at this. I'm tracking Cert on my compact mirror. She's still nearby. Ultima says, what? Really? Lorelei then brings out her drink, saying, don't worry. If she's this close to me, I'll get a chance to get back at her for what she did at Seven Island. Oh, the ice dolls. Oh, yep. Here comes Surge showing off them legs. Man, she's got long legs. I'm sorry that's the thing that I focus on, but I'm just saying. Shorts. Short shorts. Long boots. Fishnet stocking. That's all I'm saying. I guess it's just because we spent so much time not seeing her legs. I'm just really fascinated by them. Yeah, that's the reason. That's the reason. a very messed up Surd approaches Red and the others, saying, Pokédex holders. To be honest, I didn't think you'd be able to stand up to us. I'm especially impressed by that trainer with the ponytail. I've never seen anybody synchronize their emotions with Pokemon to draw out their powers before. Red questions, are you talking about Yellow? Blue says, it's easy for Yellow to synchronize with her Pokemon. You don't get it because you only measure your Pokemon's strength by their stats. I mean, well, usually in game that's how that works, but the manga and the anime play by different rules. Surge says, oh, you sound awfully familiar with her battle tactics. Blue says, of course, I'm the one who taught them to her. Surge sneers, saying, I see, so that bond is the reason you make such an effective team. Your teamwork stems from your pride in being Pokédex holders, doesn't it? I hate to admit it, but I'm rather impressed. You're quite powerful. Oh, Surge... Oh, the little ice cuff then appears on Surge's leg. As she says, it would be ill-advised for us to tolerate trainers like you roaming free. If I could, I'd get rid of the lot of you right now. Red sees the ice cuff and is shocked as Surge's body starts to freeze. She says, but to tell the truth, I'm barely standing as it is. We see Lorelei has begun to freeze Surge, as Surge says, that woman, I had no idea she'd played one of her little tricks on me. Looks like the best I can do now is make my escape, but I won't leave empty-handed, she says, looking towards Deoxys. Red catches on to this as he says, you mean Deoxys? Surge says, exactly. Deoxys, organism number 2. What a waste it would be to let go of a Pokemon as powerful as that. She opens a Pokeball, and it's like it fires at Deoxys. But Red says Deoxys is free now. And I think it's Silver who says we won't let you take it. So Red, still holding on to Yellow, Blue, Green, Silver, and Mewtwo all leap at Surd. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Surd laughs, saying, well, this is a surprise. The move I used to capture Deoxys didn't succeed, but it has produced an interesting side effect. Deoxys may have escaped after all, but This was well worth the effort. You've done well. Goodbye, my dear Pokédex holders. I'm not sure what happens. It's like she breaks through the ice and disappears. Ultima, Professor Oak, and Lorelei then approach. Lorelei says, what the? Kimberly? Kimberly? This was a different translation. Professor Oak says, Ultima, don't let Green's parents find out about this. You must contact Bill at once. Over on 5 Island, Bill on his Pokegear says, Red befriended Deoxys and it left Team Rocket to return to the wild. The airship landed safely and the town is undamaged, but then the townspeople cheer. But Bill's face runs pale. And he says, then what? Celio questions this, and Bill says, a mysterious light struck the 5 Pokedex holders and they were turned to stone. All 5 of them have been petrified. Oh, that's where it ends? Oh, that's such bullshit. Oh, that is messed up. That is so messed up. Okay, so a bit of story time. About almost 20 years ago. Yes, I'm old, I know, thank you. I remember looking into the Pokemon Adventures manga, or Pokemon Special as it were, and people were talking about the darker elements of it. Yep, even back then, people talked about how dark the manga was, and that was in the early days of droves of people going onto the internet for what have you. And I remember one of the big things around the time when this would have been released was 2006, 2007, was that Red, Blue, and Green. I actually didn't remember that it was Yellow and Silver too. So I wasn't quite sure when it was supposed to happen. They got petrified. And I've kind of been waiting when that would happen. I didn't realize it happened like this, because I remember someone commented that they had been frozen for like a year at that time. And I don't know if that was in universe or out. And I don't know how they get free of this. So I saw it and I'm like, oh, this is when it happens. And it's something I didn't even remember outright. It's something that I remembered not too long ago. I'm like, right, they get frozen. I was doing something else, so it wasn't when I was recording or anything like that, but it like clicked in my mind like, right, they get frozen. And so I was kind of waiting for this moment since then. I couldn't tell you when exactly, what I was recording before when I realized it, but it dawned on me and I was waiting for this moment, but I wasn't sure how it was going to go down, because I wasn't sure what capacity it happened in. What were they fighting? What was the impetus for it happening? Who did it? How it happened? Whatever. I still don't understand how it happened. Like, did they get caught in the blast of... What did she fire out? What did she hit them with? How did Surdy get away? Did she use teleport? Like, I have no idea what just happened here. What turned them to stone? Like, what, how did this happen? I still don't understand. I'm at such a loss. Like, knowing this happened and actually understanding the reason it happened are two very different things. So, I don't know what happens now. What a way to end all of this. Not to mention Giovanni, right? And I've never been a big fan of people losing like a year or so of their lives or more, so I don't know how they get free. And does this at all tie in with the Emerald story arc? Or maybe not. Because you can't just leave this like this. And I don't want to spoil myself on how they get out of this. Oh man. So I'm sorry to anyone who was like waiting for my reaction to them being petrified, but I'm not gonna lie, like I knew this was gonna happen because it was all over the internet when it did happen. Like, hey, I think I do remember a panel of them breaking free, but again, I don't know the context of how it happened. So, man, what a way to end this. That's just I can't get over that. Yeah, no, it was a good story arc. It was a good story arc, but not having a conclusion to this, I just gotta move on to what happens next, because I just want to know. How do you conclude this? How do you free them? what do we do? I don't know how I'm gonna feel about the new story arc with this lingering in the background of my mind. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Dang.